My guest tonight gave us the origin story of Peter Allen, the origin story of Wolverine, and now gives us the origin story of Peter Pan.
The little one, he wears the pan.
The Pan is our tribe's bravest warrior.
It was written, when you returned, we would unite against the pirates.
If Blackbeard is going to destroy everything, I'll stand against him.
Now kneel.
I will never bow to you.
Please bow for Hugh Jackman! Welcome to the Weekly. It's so good to have you. This film, I saw it the other day, and Peter Pan, that's as big a children's story as you ever get.
Yeah.
And this is the origin story. Do you feel like responsibility with saying how Peter Pan came to be?
Yeah, now I do now, as you put it like that. It sounds very momentous.
Because you screwed it up, man.
I was walking through it. I just turned off. It gave me a sort. No, I suppose, but you know, this script actually appeared on the blacklist. I don't know if you've heard of the blacklist. Sounds bad, but in Hollywood
is that
like...
where you buy drugs without the cops knowing?
Yes.
Is that what that is?
So the writer was a dealer.
Yeah.
No. So it appeared this 26-year-old guy just came up with this idea. The film wasn't being produced, and some guy found it. The blacklist is the best unproduced films that have not been made, basically. Found it, gave it to Warner Brothers, and all of a sudden this 26-year-old guy's got this huge, massive tentpole picture. And I think what he did was take the essence of Peter Pan that we know and love and just really smartly give you the prequel, the story before. And he's done it, I don't know, he did all the work, and then you got someone like Joe Wright directing it, and away we go. I was in. And
there's a real sense that, I sound like an ad, but kids dig it, adults will dig it.
I took my daughter to it, and she was like, finally, that was a good one, Dad, really.
Because I've got a theory that you pick certain movies so that you impress your kids at different ages.
Totally.
So you know, like you've got one teenager.
Yeah, movie 43. No,
and so Wolverine is like whenever there's a bit of static at home, you just play Wolverine and go, behave yourself. And now for the young one who's around 8, I think you just you
turned 10, but yeah.
Oh, 10. My bad. Sack the researcher. But you know, you can just roll out Pan and go, see, I'm a total badass with a sword.
I am. Don't mess with me. Do your homework.
That's exactly right.
It's a good theory. Doesn't work that way.
Now
the kids are only interested in what's paying for their college. That's all. No, I'm kidding. No.
Really? I'm pretty sure that's taken care of by now. Surely. Unless you're buying them a college.
It's a small one.
Now, you are very active. Actually, no, something I just remembered about you on that topic. Last year, you were number 63 on Forbes, biggest earning celebrities. And then this year, you dropped off the list. And I just wanted to check, do you have something to fall back on?
Thank you.
Like
I am unemployed.
What other skills have you got? Are you good with your hands? Like, can you build things?
I used to be a clown at kids' parties.
Really?
Yeah. I used to charge $50 an hour, so I reckon now it's got to be worth 75.
Yeah.
Still can't do balloon animals. Still actually pretty bad as it.
I got to tell you, I know a lot of mums who wouldn't care whether or not you could do balloon animals. I think you could walk into it. But it's funny, like you are described obviously as a triple threat. You can sing, you can dance, the biceps. But it's funny, people talk about that like it's just a gift and a talent.
Yeah.
But I don't often talk about how hard you have to work to be good at all of that stuff.
You know, when I first got cast in Beauty and the Beast, which was here in Melbourne, I actually
saw that.
No, really?
Yeah.
Really? So, which I loved. But when I went for the audition, I had never sung before. I was an actor. I was out of Whopper and I just did the acting course, not musical theatre course. So eventually I got the part after a lot of auditions, and I was in my contract, it said that I had to have singing lessons paid for by the production company for an entire year. Now, I don't think there's many people these days who are like, all right, but can you get some singing lessons, mate? You know? So it really was something. I was really lucky. And then I was 12 months in that, singing every night, having singing lessons. I kind of feel like I caught up really late to it.
Because that's what intrigues me about that is you do it as though it was in your blood from birth, that you were like, I just want to do this. Really? That's funny, because I've got a photo of you from when you were a kid, right? In all seriousness.
Okay.
This is you. You're playing sport, right? The
I went to a
outfit...
very good midfielder. Midfield,
Yeah, that's right.
whatever.
The outfit says sport, but the pose says musical theatre. I will say that.
I get Wolverine from that picture.
Really?
Yeah,
that guy's about to
grow up
with metal out of his hands.
He's going to be Wolverine.
But I follow you on Instagram, and like you actually share a lot of your life on there. And there was one shot recently I think is my favourite of all the shots on Instagram. That's you and Russell Crowe having a barbecue, right? The only way that could be more Australian was if Jack Thompson took the photo, right?
How did you know? But,
is that important for you to just Aussie it up wherever you are? Like it remains part of your DNA?
Well, I've got to tell you, Russell cooks a mean barbecue. But I was here...
He's watching this, he's going, too bloody right.
Too bloody right. Mean barbecue. He rang me the next day, he goes, I think I overdid the chicken. I said, no, mate. To be fair, it dissed a little. It was a little over. Sorry, Russ, in case you are watching. But no, I suppose in a way it's weird. I feel like I might be getting more Australian the older I get, the longer I'm... And I'm first generation, so my parents are English. My mum still lives in England, so I just love it. I love what this country gave me growing up here, and I want my kids not to say, oh, my parents were brought up in Australia, they're Australian. I want them to feel it's part of them as well. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny, I was in New York about a year ago, and I got a coffee, and because I grew up in Melbourne, so I give way too much of a shit about my coffee. Yeah, right. And I had this coffee, and it was like the first good coffee I'd had in New York. And I was like, this is really good. I went back in and they said, yeah, it's Hugh Jackman's place. Did you open a cafe so you could get a decent coffee in New York?
No.
Is that true?
Yes, pretty much. And because I actually didn't buy my daughter a college, I bought her a cafe so she could always be a barista. Even if she's shit, she can get a job there as a barista. But no, I was really inspired by Paul Newman and what he did with Paul Newman's Own. I thought, well, I'm going to do the same. Not a big fan of salad dressing, big fan of coffee. And so, yeah, it all sounds very philanthropic, but it's true. It's just about getting a decent flat white around the corner.
I love that you're like, yeah, I'm really influenced by Paul Newman. Oh, as an actor like Cool Hand Luke? No, more just his condiments.
Dressing.
Yeah, his condiments. Big fan of his condiments. They are wonderful.
The popcorn. Come on, man.
We had a little chat about mental illness on the show tonight, and I read somewhere that you suffer from a bit of anxiety when you're in front of the camera, but that you name your confident personality Frank.
Yeah, oh my God.
And your anxious personality Charles.
Yeah, that's true.
Why does that make me feel anxious?
You're Charlie, which is the more sort of cheeky version of Charlie.
Yeah,
So
it's kind of a needy anxiety. I'm desperate to be liked. Maybe one day I could be Frank. Who knows? But that's really interesting. No one would pick... Like, when you're on screen, no one would pick that you would ever have any doubt about what you were doing.
To be fair, I mean, the most scared I've ever been was being asked to sing at the MCG for the Bledisloe Cup. And I'm a big rugby fan. I was brought up in Sydney, so rugby was my sport. And they said, come and sing. And I actually had a panic attack the night before because all the people, I was at a dinner party and people were telling stories of how careers had finished by singing a dard version.
Yeah, Meatloaf doesn't tour anymore, I'll tell you that. That does not happen.
And that someone got up and sang it a cappella, got off key, got booed, literally singing the anthem. And I have never been more scared than that moment. And what happened to me in film was it was random. It would appear sometimes, and that was something I'd never encountered. I understand if you're scared of heights, you're always scared of heights, but some days I'd be fine, and then some days I would just get nervous and then it'd get in my head. So I don't know if you guys know Anthony Robbins, you know, the
motivational dude, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he does motivate. He's not really a motivational guy, actually. He's really quite brilliant in breaking down how we think, the patterns of behaviour we have. And so I met him, we were mates. I never went to one of his workshops, we were just friends. And I rang him, I said, mate, I want to come to you professionally. I need to ask you a question. And he said to me, what the biggest mistake people make with fear is saying, oh, I'm scared, I hate this, get it out, I don't want you near my life, this is not helping me. And you get obviously really wound up. So he said, you've got to remember the times where you feel confident, name the character that feels scared. And as you're walking on a set, realise that the fear is good that it got you where you are, that it makes you work. The fear sometimes actually goes, oh, I better work really hard on this film. Like when I was with Les Mis, I was really nervous. So he said, that fear, embrace it, work really hard. And then on that day when you walk on set, Charles, thanks, but I don't need you right now. And then be frank, as in a total arsehole. So we're gonna don't care about him, no. And that somehow just switched to me when occasionally I would get nervous.
Just one more thing before you go. Like you are an Australian that we believe in. Okay, we've given up on politicians. We've given up on most other things in our world, but we believe in you.
Really?
So I have a list of questions.
An actor. Okay, great. Yeah.
No, but we believe in Hugh. So I just want you to settle some questions so that we all know what to do and how to behave and how to function in the world.
Fine.
First up, do you keep tomato sauce in the fridge or the cupboard?
Fridge, once opened in the fridge.
Good stuff, yeah, absolutely. Ricky Ponting has suggested not having a coin toss at the start of a test match and actually the away team bats first. Is he an idiot?
Yeah, it's way too generous.
Yeah, absolutely.
Way too generous.
Who would win a fight out of Gladiator and Wolverine?
Wolverine. But Russell, let's not do it at the next barbecue. Let's not reenact it, I'm just saying.
At McDonald's, do you put your own rubbish away or do you just leave it for them?
No, I do my own rubbish.
That's good to know. That is great.
My dad brought me up well. When we go to Macca's, you put away, and the tray's got to go on top as well.
And one more. This is a controversial one. New Zealand is about to vote on its new flag.
Hang on, you just reminded me. I have flung the odd pickle. What do we call it?
On the
Pickle. I've flung it on the windows and been kicked out, and being kicked out of the Waitara. I was kicked out for a good year.
Yeah,
so.
I worked at McDonald's. I hate you. Last question.
Always up high.
New Zealand's about to vote on a new flag.
Yep.
These are the 4 designs. Take a look at that. Pick it so they don't have to think about it.
I like bottom left.
Bottom left?
Yeah, I don't know why. It just
there we
seems
go.
like...
There it is, New Zealand. That is your new flag. It's been decided by an Australian.
The United Nations,
bottom left.
that is going to stand out.
Pan is in cinemas from September 24th and Hugh's live show Broadway to Oz is touring nationally November and December. Please thank Hugh Jackman!
Thanks very much. Thank you.